Akadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Bava Kamma Daf Amud Aleph. We are on the two dots on the Vav Amud Aleph. Go to 6a, second line. Second line, Vav Amud Aleph. Says the Gemara, Hatzad HaShaveh Shebahen. What is the Tzad HaShaveh of all these things? That Darkan La'azik Shminatan Alecha, which means it's normal for them to damage, and you have to watch over it, right? You have to watch over your property. What is that coming to include? Meaning, when you say a Tzad HaShaveh, common denominator, it's obviously coming to include something. What's it coming to include? Amar Rabbi says, "La'tuye avno sakino masao shinicham berosh kagov v'naflu beruach mitzuya v'ziko." Imagine right now you come and you put on the roof a knife. You're going to put a stone. You're going to put a masa. You're going to put a burden, a load. You're going to put something upstairs, and all of a sudden comes a normal wind and knocks it off. And what happens is it blows it off, and then it's going to damage someone. You're going to be obligated. Why are you going to be obligated? You're going to be obligated, right? He comes and he says this. He says, you're going to be obligated because obviously you're obligated to come and to watch over it, which means at the end of the day, right, you're obligated to come and to watch over all these things. So what happens is that in all these cases, whether it's going to be the Evan, the Sakin, or the Masa, it's a Ruach Mitzuyah. Ruach Mitzuya means a common wind. If it's going to be a not common wind, right? So he comes and he says, listen, right, what do you want exactly? You understand? You can't really do anything, right? But if it's going to be a common wind, what's going to happen? So says the Gemara, Hechidami, what exactly are we dealing with? He says, if it's going to be that it falls and it's going to damage a human being, that's fire. That's like a fire. Remember that we said at Toladav, Esh was a fire. The fire is traveling in order to damage. So therefore, in such a case where the fire is going to come and is going to damage, he says, Maishna Esh, Esh, there's something else there. And it's not only your koach. You need wind. You need the wind to come and to start transporting it. Right? Umamuncha, it's going to be your money. Ushmirato alecha, and it's going to be your shmira on it. Okay? Means at the end of the day, an esh has the ruach, which is meuravo. If you have a fire and there's no wind, it doesn't move anywhere. You need the wind to transport the fire, to take it to other places. So he says it has koach acher meuravo. Umamuncha, it's your money. Shmirato alecha, and you have to watch over it. Hani nami, so to hear the same thing. Your evan sakinu masao koach acher meuravo manucha v'shmirato alecha. It's exactly like esh. It should be a tolada of esh. Meaning, just like the esh, you need the wind to come into transit. So the same thing. If you have a knife right here on the table and there's no wind, so it's not going to damage. But if you right now, there's going to be a wind, so it's going to be like ash then. It's going to be like a fire. The ella, but rather, no. What happened is it actually fell. And once it fell on the floor, now it damages. Meaning it wasn't that it damaged it on the way down. No. It fell down, it's on the floor, and now it damages. So says the Gemara, what's the case then? If he made it efker, ben l'Rav ben l'Shmuel, I know board. That's a pit then. If I come, right, and I put this bag out downstairs, right, that means you open up the door and you're going to walk out, you're going to trip over the bag. What's that considered? That's board. That's a pit. I made a pit in a Reshut Rabbi. Why? A pit doesn't have to be physically a pit. It could be anything which makes a stumbling block, right? And it's inactive. So he comes and he says, if I made that hefker, so whether according to Rav or according to Shmuel, it's bor. Maishna bor. What's the difference between the bor? Sheken tchilato asiyato lenezek. At the beginning when you made it, it was for nezek, and it's your money. You have to watch it. So too here, tchilat asiyata lenezek. You have to watch it. Ela delo afkenim. You didn't make it afker. So according to Shmuel Damar, kulami boro lomanu, hainu bor. So according to Shmuel, that he says any takala that you have in Reshut Rabim, any type of a stumbling block that you have in Reshut Rabim, they all learn it from bor. So that is bor. So then what's the case then? What is the case that we're trying to add that's not already included? Because Evan Sakinu Masa is technically already included. Where's it included? In bor or esh, depends where damage. If it's on the way down, then it's damaging, so it's esh. If it lands and then I made it efker, according to everybody, it's bor. And even if I didn't make it efker, according to Shmuel, it's still bor. So answers the Gemara, really, be'emet, I didn't make it efker. And velo damu lebor, but it's not comparable to bor. Why? Ma lebor she'en koach acher me'urav bo, tomar be'ani she'koach acher me'urav b'hem. He says the bor you don't have any other koach mixed in it. Meaning you came and you dug the bore. Do you need the wind? Do you need something else? You dug the bore, you made the bore, that's it. It's a pit. This Evan Sakinu Masa, you had it on the roof. If it wasn't that you had another koach meurav, if it wasn't that you had a ruach, right, a wind come and blow it down, it would have never got here. So you can't compare it then to bor. So that's why he comes and he says that's what he's coming to add in. So says the Gemara, Hesh tochiach, what about fire? Fine, but it's a fire. So he says, yeah, mala esh sheken darko lelechu lazik. He says, yeah, but the esh is movable. It travels to damage. So then it says bor tochiach. Bor, does a bor move? No, a bor doesn't move. A bor stays immobile. If you have a walk in that system, you go back. Yes, exactly. That's what he's saying. So he's saying, but that you can learn from Esh. So he says, the Esh has a koach meurav bo. He says, but a bor, right? There's no koach meurav. He says, yeah, but at the end of the day, right? Chazar adin. What does it mean, Chazar adin? Meaning, right? We're going to try to come and say each one has a tzad chamur. The tzad chamur of the which one? Tzad chamur means each one has a stringency. Each one has a stringency. The fire has a stringency in the fact that at the end of the day, right, it's moving to damage, right? But it's got koach meurav bo, which means that it's got a wind factor which has to be put into it. If it wasn't for the wind, it wouldn't move. Mitzad sheni, the bor doesn't have koach meurav bo, so that's a, obviously meaning that it's more stricter, that even if it doesn't have anything there, but mitzad sheni, it doesn't move to damage. So it means each one has a pro and a con. Each one has a factor to be mechayev oto and a factor to make it patur. The factor to be make it patur, I would have said, listen, a fire, you need koach acher, meaning you need something else there. All the other things you don't need more damage. Which one?
Need the ruach to make more damage.
No, because if I make a fire here,
you make all the room gonna burn.
If you don't have wind, the fire doesn't.
No wind.
No wind. It doesn't move.
Wind.
If you don't have wind, it doesn't go anything with fire.
It's not gonna burn the table and then
It'll burn the table. That's it. It won't go anywhere.
Move to this table.
No, it only moves because of wind.
Go to the roof.
Only moves because of wind. Rabbi comes and he says, "La tuye bora mitgalgel beragle adam uveragle bema." We're talking about to include a bore which could be rolling with the feet of human beings or the feet of animals. So, for example, let's say a stone. A stone, you placed it in the Reshut Rabim, and now you want to say that this is like a bore. Now it's moving. How's it moving? When people are kicking it. You're walking around and people are kicking it. So because of the Ragle Adam, Ragle Bema, that's which is moving. So says the Gemara, let's analyze it again. Hechi Dami, what's the case? If you made this stone hefker, whether according to Rav, whether according to Shmuel, it's a bor. What's the difference in bor that at the end of the day it's going to do nezek and you're obligated to watch over it? So do the same thing. Right? So he says, Ela, the law of Kerim. You didn't make it hefker. So he says, fine, but according to Shmuel, that you said that all these things in the takalot and Reshut Rabim, you learn it from bor. Again, it's bor. So says the Gemara the same answer. Lam daf kerinu, right? And it's not dome lebor, ma lebor shkem asav garmulo, tomar bahani shem asav garmulo. He says like this. He says, when you're obligated in a pit, you dug a pit, and now your actions caused damage. You dug the pit. He says here, your actions didn't cause the damage. You had a stone in the Reshut Rabim. And really, be'emet, you made it hefker. But it didn't damage there. It was only because you, meaning another human being or an animal, came and started kicking around, now it caused damage. So if you cannot compare it 100% to bor. Because the bor, you did the action, and now you caused the damage. Here, you didn't cause the damage. You put it there, you made it hefker, and only after being moved 20 different times, now it caused damage. So if it wasn't your action anymore that caused the damage. So says the Gemara, okay, fine, what about shor? Shor yochiach. What does it mean shor? Ma shor, sheken darko lelechu lazik. Right? He says, 1 second. He comes and he says this. The shor, at the end of the day, it's not your action. Meaning you're coming and you're taking your ox. Your ox doesn't care what you want. Your ox will do whatever he wants. Right? If you think you control your ox, right? You've got big surprises coming through. You understand? Right? Sometimes, you try to control things. They're out of control. They go wild. Yeah? So what happens? Right? It's not going to happen. So he comes and he says, fine, but the shor is darko lelechu lazik. Meaning like this, we just now wanted to say that when you have the stone that was coming and going around. So that's compared to the shore. That also the shore goes around and starts damages. He says, but you can't compare it. Then why? The shore, he says, it's it's normal for it to go and to start damaging, right? But here it's not normal that this pebble is going to start coming and doing damages after it's in the Reshut Rabim. So he says, okay, fine, but again, I'm going to do the same thing. This does not appear to that, which means like this. One more time. If I'm only learning from shore, I can't. If I'm only learning from bor, I can't, because each one has a chumrah that I don't have. The bor, you did the action, there's a damage. This stone, you put the action, there wasn't a damage yet. It had to go another 10 hands and then it made the damage. So it's not really, you can't compare it to bor. So okay, fine, but it's a shore. So it's not true, because the shore, right, at the end of the day, it's normal for it to go out to damage. This stone is not normal to go out to damage. So it's not a shore either. So I have to put them both together. Again, the same thing. What am I doing? I'm putting a common denominator. The common denominator is, at the end of the day, it's your money, right? It's normal to damage, and therefore you have to actually watch over it. The second I say these things, that's it. Now you're chayav, right? But I have to put them together, because if I don't put them together, I cannot learn it from anywhere, right? Because each one has a stringency that I don't have. Okay. Next answer, right? This is the third case, right? Ravada Barava comes and he says, remember one more time, we're always zooming out to understand what does the word atzad shava shemen, what is that coming to include? It's obviously coming to include a case. What's the case? Right? So he comes and he says, Ravada Barava. So the first one, right, that we want to say was the Even Sakinu Masa, which is the knife, the thing, and then we start going into the balagan. You can learn it from the fire. You can learn it from bor. No, you needed tzad shava shemen, and that's what you needed. Second case that we said was, right, it was an Even. Third case now, Ravada Barava comes and he says, to come to include that which we learned, Kol elu shamru, everything that the rabbis come and they say, that you come and you throw it in the Reshut Rabim, potkin bivotehen, to open up your biyuv, vegurfin me'arotehen, or to come and to put all the, like you're gonna throw it in the Reshut Rabim of your zevel and your fertilizer in the Reshut Rabim. Pimota chama and reshut. They're not allowed to do that during the summertime, right? Why? Because the rechov is beautiful and you're ruining the streets. But bimota gishamim, you have permission to do so. Ve'afal pi shabirshut, and even though you have permission, imiziku chayavim leshalem, which means like this: in the summertime, the streets are so beautiful, they're so incredible. So you can't do anything in the summertime. You cannot come and take, whether it's your fertilizer, whether it's whatever it is, and start throwing it into the Reshut Rabim or doing something with Reshut Rabim. Reshut Rabim is nice. Don't touch it. Don't damage it. Don't ruin its appearance. It looks bad. No. In the wintertime, there's snow, mud, this, that. Wintertime, right? Again, we're not in Miami, right? Obviously, we're not talking about Miami because Miami's summer all year now. But I'm saying, meaning you go to these places, you can't even see the streets, right? It looks terrible anyway. So therefore, you can't even see the cars. You can't even see the people sometimes, right? So what happens? What happens is that in such scenarios, right, there's no problem. Imagine right now I'm going to come and I'm going to take out my fertilizer and I'm going to take it outside. There's no problem. I have the reshut to do so. Why? Are you damaging what it appears? I'm saying it looks like panim anyway. There's no aesthetics. Exactly. There's no aesthetics. You can do whatever you want outside. But, says the Gemara, even if you're allowed to do so, if it damages, you're chayav. You're chayav during the winter. Right? During the summer, it's a suit anyway, so for sure you're going to be chayav. But even during the winter, that you're allowed to come and take it outside, it's going to be a suit. Says the Gemara, hey Chidami, what's the case? Right? Right? Maski, if it's going to be that these things damage when they're going out, so therefore kochohu, it's your koach. Meaning, you come and you took it out, and while you took it out, right, it made damage. So that's your koach. Right? Imagine I come, right? I have a window right here. Right? I have a window. I open up the window and I do like this. And I found it, I shoot out, right? And all of a sudden somebody's walking right underneath and boom, it gets all their clothing. Now they're going to take it to the cleaners because it was disgusting and I don't know what. That's called koach. That's my koach. That's like I took an arrow and I just shot it. It's the exact same thing. So says the Gemara, no, because a bird has its own life. It's something different, right? But we're talking about something that doesn't have a life, and that's going. You shot it, is going, right? So he comes and he says, so if it's on its path and it's going to do the damage, it's your koach. Ela, it landed. It can't be that I shot it and right there it got the guy, because if not, it's my koach for sure. I'm chayav. So talking about it landed. So says the Gemara, what's the case? if it landed, if you made it hefker, so whether according to Rav and Shmuel, it's considered bor, chazak baruch. So he says, what's the difference? So to here, tchilat asiyatol nezek, manucha shminatol lecha. Ela bama, what? You didn't make an hefker. But according to Shmuel, any takala in the Reshut Rabbi, you learned it from bor. So again, it's bor. So says the Gemara, leolam really be'emet, dafkirinu, you made it hefker, but you said that you can't compare it to bor. Why? Male bor sheken shelo birshut, tomar bahani de birshut, which means this. When you came into the public domain and you made a bor, did you have a reshut to do that? No. You had no reshut to make it. And that's why you made a pit in a stumbling block in the middle of the Reshut Rabin. Here, you had the permission to do it. It was winter time. You had the permission to do it. And still, you're going to be chayav. So says the Gemara, that's what it's coming to have. Meaning you cannot compare it 100% to bor. Because the bor, you have no permission, no rights of doing that. Who are you to go to the public domain and start digging a pit? So you're going to be chayav. But in this case, you had the permission to do so. So you can't say that it's 100% bor. By Bava Mubet. So says the Gemara, the shore is going to prove you wrong. Why? The shore, mala shore, right? He comes and he says, the shore, you're going to be chayav, even though it's done with a shoot. You have permission to go in the public domain with your ox. And still, if it damages, you're going to be chayav. So Cindy, you had permission to take these things out in the middle of the winter time. And if it damages, you're going to be chayav. Says the Gemara, no. Mala shore sheken darko lelechu lazik. 1 second, but the shore travels on its own to damage. This phlegm or whatever it was that you spit out, it's on the floor. It's not traveling anywhere. It's staying like a bor. So says bor tochiach, right? The chazaradin. Again, what does that mean? One more time. We keep on again. As long as you understood the concept, it's very, very simple, right? It cannot be one or the other. We wanted to say it's short. It cannot be short. The short travels to damage, right? But here, it's not traveling to damage. It's there. So it's okay, fine. So it's not short. It's bor. It says no. The bor, you didn't have a reshut to come and to dig a pit in the Reshut Rabbi. Here, you had the reshut to put it here. So it's not bor. So says the Gemara, again, Chazar Adin. I make it Tzada Shaveh Shaben. Tzada Shaveh means it's not short and it's not bor, but it's both in common denominator. The common denominator is, at the end of the day, it's your money, it's your damage, you have to watch over it, and then you're going to be obligated to pay. That's what it is. Capish? And we can remember, we continue doing this. We're going to do this 100. That's just a form of the Gemara, right? That's the way that we learn it. It's not compared to this, it's not compared to that, but it's compared to this. Okay? Lavdila lefavdolo, by the way, they do the exact same thing in law. In law, what is the entire concept of a good lawyer? A good lawyer, what he tries to do is he comes and he says, okay, fine, this case is compared to case this, and this was a case study, and this is what happened. Now the other guy's going to say, what are you talking about? Over there, it was a different case because of A, B, C, D. She says, okay, fine, you're right. But there was another case over there. And in that case, this was the case. So, okay, but over there, it was also D, E, F. He says, yeah, but what's the common denominator? They both had the same concept, and you're still chayav. So, same thing, you're still chayav. That's the way that it is. That's the way that the Gemara is thinking, to understand that you're still going to be chayav, even though I can't compare it 100%, not too short or not too bor. It's both together. Says the Gemara. Ravina comes and he says, La tuye, this is now going to be the fourth thing. Remember one more time. We said in the Gemara that there's a common denominator. We want to say, what is that coming to include? Obviously, it's coming to include something. First thing that we included was Even Sakinu Masach, Chazak U'Aruch. Second thing that we included was the moving rocks. Third thing we said was the things in the Reshut Rabim. How do you call it? The winter. I don't know how you said it in English even. What is it?
To clean the gutter?
Yeah, that basically you're going to open up the gutters, right, during the winter time, and you're allowed to come and you're allowed to take all the zevel and everything. You're allowed to put it in the Reshut Rabim. So that's winter time. If you want to just winter time, that's just the thing to remember. Number 4, Ravina comes and he says, to add, that's what we learned in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Hakotel v'ha'ilan shenaflu lirshut harabim v'yizihu." Somebody just mentioned this case, right? So now he's going to see the Gemara. The Gemara says, what happens if you have a wall or you have a tree? And what happened was they fell from your private domain to the public domain, and they damage. No, not דווקא הוריקן. בדיוק אותו מקרה.
What's the difference?
זה נפל. Yeah.
מה זה איך הוא נפל?
Says the Gemara, Patur mileshalem. It's honest. You're patur. You don't have to pay. Yeah, you don't have to pay. Now, obviously, right? If Betin tell him that it's a sakana, he's obligated, and that's why, by the way, you should know. Right before hurricanes, what do? Right, they come and they give out papers to everybody, and they tell you any type of the trees which are loose, which are this, that, trim the trees, do this, that. Why? Because in the time of hurricane, it's even worse because there it's a wind which is not common, but you already know that it's coming, so you better make sure that it's not going to damage, right? But for example, if you have a tree, strong tree, and all of a sudden, boom, it comes. You're honest. You're force majeure. How are you going to dream in your wildest dreams that it's going to fall? Doesn't make sense. You're patur. What happens if they give him a time frame? They come, they look at the wall, they say, listen, it's either you fix this wall, or if not, it's going to crash. Yeah, Champlain Towers. Yeah, they're looking at. Yeah, they're gonna give you a time, right? If it was betoch hazman viziku patur, lachar hazman chayav. Meaning like this: if I came and I give you a time frame, I tell, listen, take down your tree because the way that it looks, it looks a little bit flimsy. I told you, you have a week or 10 days, whatever you want. Yeah. So now, if it falls within the time frame, you still patur. Because when I gave you the time frame, that was my educated evaluation or estimation when it was going to damage. If it's after the time frame, he's going to be chayav.
There's no time frame for how long he has to clean it up because then it becomes a bore.
Exactly. That you have to do it right away. I'm saying once it already falls, you have to do it right away.
There's no time frame after for that?
No. Okay. Well, obviously, I'm saying something normal, meaning it can be 3 seconds. I'm saying, first of all, you have to find out that it fell. Then you have to, you understand? And then if you need, I don't know what, a set type of machinery to pick it up, so fine. So obviously, it's the time that it takes that. But meaning if it's something very simple, you have to do it right away. Okay? So says the Gemara, and by the way, you should know, these type of things could happen anywhere. Do you know that it happened in Israel? That somebody went and they changed their door. And they changed their door, and they left their door in the hallway. And the neighbors were telling the person, please, it's dangerous. Imagine, you just have like a door detached in the hallway. And there are kids running around. The guy didn't care. Yeah? What happened? He fell on a kid and he killed the kid.
Yeah.
He was straight to jail for I don't remember how many years. Straight to jail for I don't know how many years. Why? They told you, they warned you about it. That's your pit. That's your, what do you do? They tell you to move it, move around.
לפני כמה שנים, anytime, they took kids for a trip or something. One of the kids sit under the tree. The tree not fall down, but part of the tree.
Fell down?
And fell down, yeah. And they soon the school.
באמת? But that's going to be much more difficult because there you would have to prove that באמת they knew it was going to fall. That this.
No, what I'm saying, maybe for the Gemara,
exactly.
is patur, but Ezrachi,
no. But listen, you're right. In a chanami, what does that mean? Meaning that in secular law nowadays you could sue for whatever it is, but in the old days it didn't exist. For example, I'm gonna ask you something, right? Somebody's okay. No, I don't want to say about it here. Somebody's walking on the street, and all of a sudden, boom. No, if there's a hole, that means they knew about it, and that means that there's something there.
Yeah, but if there wasn't
what
sign,
happens?
What happens? No sign.
Exactly. So then the city's responsible. But what happens? What happens right now if you walk and you make the hole, meaning that there was no hole beforehand, but I don't know what happened, and all of a sudden it made a hole. Now, why would the city be? If they didn't get any warnings, they didn't. Why would there be hell? That's what he said. Today you can sue for everything that you want, but in the old days it didn't exist. Why? Because listen,
you even sue the cement company.
Yeah, I'm saying, like it doesn't make sense. And you said, like, there's certain things that you have to find out. Fine. So says the Gemara, right? What's the case? If you made the tree or the wall hefker, whether according to Rabbi and Shmuel, it's born. What's the difference in born? Which is that it's going to be coming, that you're going to come, and you're obligated to watch over it. Harinami. These two is the either over if you didn't make it hefker, according to Shmuel, then you learn everything that's going to be in the Neshut being like bor. Anyway, it's bor. So answers the Gemara, really be'emet, you made it hefker, and it's not compared to the bor. Why? Because the bor at the beginning was made for nezek. Here, it wasn't made for nezek. You know this, when he planted the tree 20 years ago, did he make it to damage? He wanted a beautiful tree. When he made the wall, he wanted a wall. It's not like a bor. A bor, especially in Neshut being, it's made to damage. Here, it wasn't made to damage. You understand? So therefore, you can't compare it to bor. So says Gemara, shor yochiach. The shore is going to prove to you. Why? The shore is able to go into damage. It says, yeah, but shore goes on its own to damage. Here, it didn't walk on its own, right? It fell. The Gemara, no, now it's going to be like the board. So says the Gemara, Chazar Adin. Again, the exact same thing that we mentioned before. The kudotaim, 2 dots. Yeah? Fine. Kishizik chava mazik. When a person comes and he damages, so he's going to be the mazik, the damager is going to be obligated. Says the Gemara, chava mazik, chayav mazik. What is chava mazik? Chayav mazik, meaning that the mazik, the damager, is obligated to pay. That's what it should have been written. Says the Gemara, Rav Yehuda says of Yehuda, Amar Rav, Haitana Yerushalmihu. This Tana is Yerushalmi. The Tana Lishna Kalila, that he's learning Lashon Kalau Tzara. What does that mean? And therefore he comes and he decided to use Chav, right? Lashon Tzara instead of Chayav. Meaning, you know, some people, that means they don't, you have to say the word Chayav. Shortcuts. Chav. Mordechai, Mordi. You know, Ron. It's a Ronen. Dawi. Yeah, all these things. They come, Bua.
זה גם מלשון...
נכון, אבל זה ירושלמי, זאת אומרת, זה לקצר. באמת המילה זה חייב, אבל זה היה ככה לקצר. אוקיי, next. לשלם תשלום הנזק. You're obligated to pay נזק. תנו רבנם, we learned to the right. מיטב שדה ומיטב כלמו ישלם. What does it mean? מיטב כלמו, מיטב שדה, אולי מיטב שדה ומיטב כלמו ישלם. מיטב שדה של ניזק ומיטב כלמו של ניזק. דברי רבי ישמעאל. ויקיב אומר, לא בא כתוב אלא לגבות לנזיקים מן העדית. וקל וחומר להקדש, which means this. When I come and I say, מיטב שדה ומיטב כלמו ישלם, what does that mean? According to שיטת רבי ישמעאל, you have to take the best of the nizak and a best of the מיטב שדה של ניזק ומיטב כלמו של ניזק. It's always a damagee. Meaning like this, it all depends who you damage. According to Shidat Bishmael, which means we're going to see who did you damage. You damage a rich person, you're going to have to pay very, very high up. If you're going to damage a poor person, his properties were lower down. So therefore, it's according to the nizak. These are the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, Rabbi Akiva comes and he says, no, the Torah is just coming to say that nizikin you always collect from the elite. And kavachom and hekdesh. Remember, hekdesh never loses out. Hekdesh is the bet hamikdash or the kodesh. They never lose out. So that's why they're always going to be on the top. Rabbi Yishmael, according to Rabbi Yishmael, achal shmena, mishalem shmena. Achal chusha, mishalem shmena. He says, I don't understand you. According to Rabbi Yishmael, imagine right now, the shorter comes and he eats a roll of fruits. Imagine right now, he's going to eat a fat roll, meaning a good roll. They were big, fat fruits. So he's going to mishalem shmena. Now, I don't understand you. If he's going to eat a chusha, which means like, skinny fruits, he's going to have to pay the shmena? Why? How does that make sense? So, Amar Ravidi Baravi, Nachman Skim, what are we dealing with? Mon she'achal aruga ben arugot. He ate a roll between 2 different rolls. Velo yadina nechusha yishmena achal. But you don't know which one it is. Meaning like this. I've got a field. Right here, I got a roll, which they came out. Matok midmash. Creme de la creme. Right? Incredible. Very nice.
Both of the sides.
On this side, I've got terrible. Ouch. Right, mamash. Yeah. Terrible. What happened was, he ate in between. And I don't know, the one in between that he ate, was it like the good, or was it like the alapani? I don't know. That's what happens. So says the Gemara, the mishalem shmena. He has to pay the big ones, the good ones. Right? Why the maximum? He says, why? Because it could be that maybe it was shemen. So now you don't know what it is, so you're obligated to pay the big one. So Amar Bava Kamma Daf says, Umayilu yadinan dechusha achal. לא משלם על right אלא חושה. השתא דלא ידין על חושה ואכל שמנה אכל משלם שמנה? Says I don't understand. If he ate kachush, he ate the bad ones. What does he have to pay? The bad ones. So now that he ate and you don't even know what he ate, you're going to tell me he has to pay the good ones? Why in the world? You want me? You bring a proof that it was good. Why in the world? You have to bring me the proof. If I come and he comes and he says, you damaged me. Said, where? Prove it. No. This part of the car. I said, prove it. You could just say whatever you want. Say, prove it. Show that my paint is on your car. You had a video. You had to prove it. If not, my word against yours. You have to bring the proof, not me. The onus is on you, not on me. So that's what we're saying. I mean, what? Ela Amar Ravacha Bar Yaakov, says Ravacha Bar Yaakov. Hacham Maiskinan here, what are we dealing with? Kegon Shaita Idit Denizak, Keziborit Temazik. He says here, what are we dealing with? The Idit is of the Nizak, is like the Ziborit of the Mazik, meaning the guy that damaged is somebody very, very rich. And the guy that he damaged was not. So the guy's Idit, right, is like the Ziborit of the damager. And the guy came and he had a Rolls Royce. He comes and he damages BMW. Hey, your Tesla. Listen. So it's like, so you know, so his ziborit, the ziborit of the mazik, is like the edit of the guy. Ubehappily, so that's machloket. Rabbi Yishmael savar that the nizak shaminan. We always evaluate in the nizak, and Rabbi Akiva holds by the mazik shaminan. We always go by the mazik, which means like this: somebody comes and he damages. How do you evaluate? Now again, this was once upon a time, because once upon a time you used to pay with a field. It wasn't like they had a lot of cash, liquid. So therefore, you damage. Okay, I'm going to pay with a field. So which type of field? Am I going to give you a house in Biscayne Point? Or am I going to give you a house in the village, right, or in Surfside? You understand? Or I'm going to give you a house in El Paloca. You understand? You got the Ziborit, right? You got the Benonit, and then you got the Edit. You understand? It's going to be a big difference. You understand? So he comes and he says, but according to Rabbi Kiva, we go by the Mazik, one that's damaging. So my time at Rabbi Shmuel, what's the reasoning of Rabbi Shmuel? There's a gzera shava. It says in the end of the pasuk, "Meitav sadeu yishalem," and it says the lemala ubiyer bisdeh acher. Mas sadeh amu lemala, just like the sadeh. We're talking about the nizak. So to sadeh, it's talking about the nizak. You know this when it says that he went to damage somebody's field. Whose field are we referring to? The nizak, the damagee, the one that got damaged. So therefore, when you want to pay, who do you have to pay according to? The damagee, the one that got damaged. But according to Rabbi Akiva, it says metav sadeu umetav karmo yishalem. Tehachka meshalem, you have to pay according to the one that's damaging, not the one that's damagee. Meaning the one that's getting damaged, the one that's damager. He's the one that you have to pay. Rabbi Yishmael, ahani gzera shava v'ani kra. He says, 1 second, you have a gzera shava and you have a pasuk. So what's going on? So he says, ahani gzera shava k'dekamina. We already learned the gzera shava, which was sadeh sadeh. But he says, ahani kra kekom di'ile lemazik idit v'ziborit. Right? What happens if the mazik has both? He's got good property, and then he's got bad property. So it says, go di'ile lemazik idit v'ziborit. V'idit lenizak v'ziborit lemazik lo shavya. But the idit of the nizak and the ziborit is nothing. The mazik is not worth anything like the idit of the nizak. The meshalem le'em mitav didei. He has to pay the best of his own. He cannot say ta'at gevim ziborit ela gavim mitav. He cannot come and say, you know what, come and take from my ziborit. Can't say that. But rather what? He's going to come and he's going to take from the idit. He's going to take from my best. Why? Because that's according to him, that you could always take from the best of the fields. Right? Again, nowadays this doesn't apply, but nowadays it's in cash.
But if a wealthy guy had property in Hialeah and in Bar Harbor, and he damages the Nizak who had property in Hialeah, he cannot tell him, okay, take the next block is mine. He has to give him from the Ziborit.
No, machloket. Who are you going like? In Rabbi Akiva or Rabbi Yishmael? In Rabbi Yishmael, we go like the Nizak. According to Rabbi Akiva, we go like the Mazik. So according to Rabbi Akiva, I tell him I want in the Bal Harbor. And according to Rabbi Yishmael, okay, Hialeah. Why? Because it's the best that I have. Meaning, if that's the best that I, that's
the closest to what you lost.
100%. Okay. Next, says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva says, "Lo ba katuv ela ligvod nizakim min ha'idit v'kama chomer le'ekdesh." What is a kama chomer to ekdesh? So he comes and he says, "Ilei madinagach Torah didan." If you're going to say that our shor gored a shor of ekdesh, he says shor re'eu amalachmana. It only says the shor of his friend, says the Torah. The lo shor shel ekdesh, not shor of ekdesh, right? So that means he says, "Ela lemor," but rather it says, "Harei alai mana lebedek bayim." Imagine a person comes and he says, I'm going to give a maneh to the bedek bayit. Te'ati gizbar v'shekam yedit. The gizbar could come take the maneh. Imagine right now, a person comes and he says, you know what, I'm going to give $100 to the Beit Knesset. I could come and I could collect those $100 from your house in Bal Harbor. I'm not going to take it from Hialeah. That's what. Again, nowadays it's cash. It's It's a different world. You understand? But in the olden days, this is what it was. You would be giving a piece of property. You're trading. It's a piece of property that you're giving. Lo yeheh la balchov, says the Gemara. It's not even going to be like a balchov. Balchov bebenonit. Balchov is going to be with a benonit. Right? The chitim, and now you're going to tell me some Rabbi Akiva holds called balchov nami beidit. You're going to ask, Mala balchov shekin yupak kochov ben nezikin. Says, I don't understand you. A balchov you're going to tell me is going to be even better than nezikin. Tomar begdesh yurab kochov ben nezikin. Right? What does that mean exactly? Right? Remember that the Torah is coming to exclude to come and take tashum ben nezikin. So what are we dealing with? So okay, again, the Gemara is going to change. Right? What exactly the case was.